All right, in this next little section of the video, I want to talk with you a little bit about the treatment itself. Now, I believe the first part of the treatment was really directed at stimulating your bone marrow to make more stem cells and getting those stem cells out into your peripheral bloodstream so that they could be harvested by the apheresis machine. So tell me a little bit about that first part of the treatment.
The first part of the treatment, they give you, actually, you have 2 days of chemotherapy, and that is to start your immune system, your white blood cells and your stem cells to start
Dividing. I think it actually damages, it kills some of your white blood cells, and then your body's reaction to that is to make more.
Yes.
And then they give you shots after that, right?
Yeah, you get about a week of, I think it's filgastrin shots.
Yeah.
And that's to help stimulate the stem cells to divide so that you have enough stem cells in your peripheral blood so they can be collected so that you can get them put back in you after.
And they use a machine to collect them, right?
Yes, the apheresis.
So tell me about that, getting the apheresis done. Was that painful?
Well, no, not at all. You go to the hospital the day before and have a catheter put in you.
Up by your collarbone,
Up
right?
by your collarbone. It's a very minor procedure, very easy. And then the next day you get the apheresis done. So your cells are collected, and then they have to make sure they collected enough cells. So they figure that out, and if they have, then you get your third chemo treatment the same day. So it's kind of a long day, but a good day.
So they make sure you have enough stem cells, and then they put the stem cells safely away in the refrigerator or wherever it is they keep them, and then they give you more chemotherapy. And the intent, I think, of those last 2 big doses of chemotherapy is to wipe out like 80 to 90% of your immune system, right?
Yes, it is.
And then after your immune system has been wiped out 80 to 90% of the way, what do they do next?
And then there's a day in between, and then you get your new birthday or new stem cell birthday, because
why do they call it a birthday?
Because it's a new beginning, it's a new you, it's a new immune system.
Yeah, if you think about it, I guess from a scientific standpoint, what they've done is they've destroyed all of your immune cells that have, or almost all of your immune cells that have memory. So all your B cells and T cells, the ones that can remember what your body is immune to, are gone, and you just have these fresh new stem cells. So you're sort of back to the situation you were at on the day that you were born from an immunological standpoint. And that's, it's a little bit dangerous because you're not immune to things like polio or diphtheria anymore, and at some point you're going to have to get re-immunized against those. But it's good because hopefully they've killed off the immune memory that wants to be attacking your central nervous system. So that's a big day. I think they have don't they have a birthday party for you guys?
They do. They have a celebration, a birthday party for us, and we call it's day 0, and it's very exciting, and they really celebrate it and bring out cake or treats, and you get a shirt, and it's a really, really good day.
And then then you get some more shots to stimulate those stem cells to divide.
Yes.
And I think they're closely following your neutrophil count at that point, or your white blood count, to make sure that you start getting more white blood cells so that you develop an immunity. But you go through a period there where you're very neutropenic and you're sick, right, during that time period. Don't have low energy. Some people are nauseated.
Yeah.
And so forth. So it's kind of a bad week when that's all going on. But I think it seems like it was about a week that before your white cell count came out up
Yes.
again and even got into the normal range with the help of those filgrastim injections. And then after your neutrophil count is high enough, basically you're safe enough for you to go, in your case, get on an airplane and fly home, right?
Yes.
So I just want to ask you a couple questions about that last day there, because one thing that impressed me about that system they had set up there is I like the way that they had everyone start the treatments and finish the treatments on the same day. So you have this whole group, in your case, of 10 people who are going through the same thing at the same time, and so their own internal support group. And then, you know, on that last day when everybody is saying goodbye to each other, it's just kind of, I think everyone is very hopeful, and everyone is hoping
Yes.
that everyone else will do as good as possible with the results of their treatment, and at the same time hoping for themselves that they will have some success with the treatment. That it's everyone's departing, but the story of how it's all going to turn out is just beginning at that point.
Yes, and you know, it is, it's difficult actually to part from everyone because you've become so close and they're like family. So you now have extended family from all over the world that you're going to be able to talk to and talk about, you know, how you're doing and give tips and things that you can do better, and you know, workouts, and you have new friends, you have new family. It's wonderful.
All right, well that's great. I think that does a good job of summarizing, you know, the treatment at the clinic, and we're going to talk in the next video about how you're doing. But I think before that, there's probably some people you want to thank.
Yes.
So I'm going to start out by thanking some people. So, you know, before we left, we were having a hard time deciding if we should even go because, you know, not everyone involved in Rachel's healthcare thought that going and having the stem cell transplant was really a good idea. Everyone was trying to do the right thing, but we have some smart people in the medical field who are friends of ours who we called, and a couple people I should mention. One is our primary care doctor, Dr. On, who encouraged us to undergo the treatment, and also an infectious disease doctor here in the Salt Lake City Valley named Musab Chowdhury, who's husband of a colleague of mine who also was very encouraging of us to go ahead and give it a try. And then one of the doctors at the Ruiz Clinic, Dr. Juan Carlos, I called up before we left for Mexico, and I told him I wasn't sure if we should come. I had concerns about, specific concerns about your immune system, and that we had specific concerns about whether or not you would benefit from the treatment because you had no active lesions on your MRI scan. He assured us that they had data suggesting that, well, I guess one of the pieces of data they have is that about a third of their patients have no active lesions on their MRI scan, and despite that, they're getting the same sorts of results that they're getting at other clinics around the world that only accept people with active lesions, suggesting that not having active lesions isn't so important to determining whether or not the treatment will be successful or not.
Yes.
And he also reassured us, because we had concerns about your immunoglobulin levels being low, that he says they have quite a few patients with low immunoglobulin levels that come through there, and you know, sure, it's a little bit of an increased risk, but he felt it was a reasonable risk. So I thank him for his advice that turned out to be good advice. And then I think you have some people you want to thank from the Ruiz Clinic, right?
I do. First and foremost, of course, my nurse, Julie Gonzalez, was amazing. She's incredible, and if you are lucky enough to have her as your nurse, you're really going to be happy. You're going to feel great and feel taken care of and not worried. And then we had wonderful drivers. my main driver,
I think one of your drivers was named Angel, right?
yes, one of them was Angel. They have two angels though, so it's Angel number 2. he was really, he was great. He was wonderful. He actually gave one of my friends who came down to visit me a dance lesson. And we have it on video. So.
And I think Lorenzo was the fellow
And
that
Lorenzo,
driven me around
yes.
when I got there.
Lorenzo was my main driver, and he was fantastic.
You should probably thank Dr. Ruiz.
Of course, and Dr. Ruiz, I'm so thankful for him for creating this clinic, but also when he was talking to me, I'm sure he was very patient with all my questions because I had so many. So I very much appreciate that. And there was a phlebotomist. His name is Martin, and he was wonderful. He was able to get my blood without giving me a bruise, which
Pretty
does
much
not
nobody else
happen.
can do.
Yeah. So it was pretty incredible. And Dr. Prieska, he was the one who was mostly in charge of the apheresis machine and procedure. And he went through a lot of what the procedure was with me, and then answered a lot of my questions. I have a lot of questions. So they were very patient people.
And the cooking staff and the cleaning staff.
Cooking staff and cleaning staff were just incredible, and the manager of the whole operation, he just made sure everything went smoothly, and we were being taken care of, and we didn't have any problems. If we had any problems, he took care of them immediately.
I think there was another nurse there named Lupita, right?
Yes, Lupita was a nurse that was in the building, so I would see her almost every morning, and she was just so sweet and loving and caring.
I think we were told that there was something like 300 people directly or indirectly associated with your care there at the clinic, and all I can say, and what I was told by my wife, is just that they were all very warm, very professional, did a really great job. And I know that before we went there, we had concerns with leaving America to get health care someplace. Now, do you think that people should be concerned about that, going to Mexico for this particular treatment?
No. Yeah. You shouldn't even question it.
And I think, I'm a physician myself, and I've worked at some really great top medical centers in the country, and I really don't think I have seen a patient care experience as well as professional and as well pulled off as what the Ruiz Clinic did. And I don't think people should hesitate for a second to think about going there to get
not at all.
their treatment done. So, all right, I think that's good. And I'm going to end this, and then we'll move on to the